Hey everyone, and happy Easter. Today is a day of renewal and rebirth. If you're Christian or Catholic, then it's about resurrection, how Jesus was brought back to life. But even if you're not religious at all, today is also a reminder of rebirth as we celebrate spring. How life comes back after the barren winter. And so today we will focus on renewal and rebirth in our practice by first releasing any stagnant energy we hold in our body, any thoughts and emotions that we hold that no longer serves us. And after releasing all of that, opening ourselves up to the infinite possibilities available to us. Being reborn into a new person who is ready to take on whatever life may bring. And so for this practice, you will need a block at the very least. If you don't have a block, then it's okay. Just have anything else at home that you can use instead. So maybe you use a thick book or a stack of books, or maybe a firm cushion or pillow. So feel free to be creative with whatever you have at home, and I'll meet you on your mat. So we're going to start this morning or this afternoon, whatever time you may be using this video. We're going to start in a supported bridge pose. So I'll meet you on your mat. Have a block or whatever prop you have handy. You're going to lie down on your back. Bend your knees, feet on the ground. And then lift the hips up and slide that block underneath the hips. So make sure it's not your lower back, but rather your hips just above the tailbone. And I encourage you to just start with the lower setting to begin with, and you can always modify and use another height if you'd like, if you want to intensify. So this is your supported bridge, feet planted on the ground, arms by the sides. Just start to feel the release in the front body. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. And you can always stay here, or if you want to make it a little bit more intense along the front body, you can extend your legs, starting with the left leg, and followed by the right. Your heels finding opposite corners of your mat. And now your hips are going to be the highest point of the body. Here, imagine your body like a little hill, and your hips are the apex, or the peak. And feel yourself grounding down to the earth through your connection with your shoulders and your heels. And feel that nice stress along the fascia on the front body, especially here in your hips, your groin, your hip flexors, maybe also here in your belly. Yep, and you can play around with the arm placement. You can keep the arms by the side, or if you want to also stretch the arms, go ahead. Extend them overhead. You can even hold on to opposite elbows. So whatever feels good for you, go ahead and take that. And know as well that anytime this pose becomes a little bit too intense for you, you can always come back with a bent knees variation instead. Just notice how the body feels here. Let's first start to get to know our bodies. tuning in, noticing all the sensations and feelings. You can even take this opportunity to quickly scan the body, starting from the bottom, from the feet, making your way up part by part, up through the legs, through the hips, through the chest, until you find yourself all the way up to the crown of your head. So just take this moment to scan the body quickly and be acquainted with your body. Be aware of whatever aches and pains you may be feeling. What parts of the body feel tight, open. Where you're feeling any particular sensation. Start to zero in on the breathing here, feeling how your chest, your diaphragm expands as you take a breath in. And then as you exhale, how it contracts back inward, how it becomes smaller. With every inhale, feeling that expansion one more time. And with every exhale, feeling that contraction. And even as early as now, let's already start practicing that release. As we inhale, let's imagine breathing in love and compassion. And as we exhale, breathing out indifference or hate. Inhale, breathing in love and compassion one more time. Exhale, letting go of frustration and fear. Inhale, love, compassion, kindness. Exhale, anger, jealousy, pride. And we'll take one more breath here. Inhale through the nose. Love, compassion, bring it into your body. And as you exhale, all these negative emotions that you hold in the body, that you hold to yourself. And if you have your legs extended, bend the knees, feet on the ground. Lift the hips up a couple of inches so that you can release the block or prop underneath the hips. Lower the hips down, set your prop aside, and come into constructive rest. Keep the knees bent, separate the feet mat width apart, and bring the knees together. Arms down by your sides, and feel that nice release in the low back, neutralizing the spine after that intense stretch across the front. Just taking a few breaths here. And slowly start to bring the feet together and roll over onto one side. Sit up. and find your way into butterfly pose. So you're going to bring the soles of the feet together, open the knees wide, and support your knees with blocks if you need it, especially if your knees are high off the ground. So you can meet them with your blocks. And slowly, you're going to fold forward over the legs. So walk the hands forward, allow the upper body to round down over the legs. Make sure that there's at least about a hand length distance between your hips and your heels in your butterfly. And notice where you're feeling it here, in your groin, in your inner thigh or outer thigh or both, in your lower back. Relax the neck. Stay here in butterfly. And as we stay here, rounding down over our legs, starting to think of all these different beliefs that limit us, that come from society. How we are dictated what to do, what not to do, simply because of our status in life, or our gender, or some other factor. How we're told perhaps we're not pretty enough by a certain standard, and whose standard is it anyway? So start to pile up all these different limiting thoughts and beliefs that come from society at large, the community we are in, the people around us. Start to pile all of them up into one big mountain, sorting them all into one big pile, all these thoughts, and then start to place them all in one box until the box is full. And then just tape it shut, seal it tight. And then with all your might, with all your strength, throw that box away as far away as possible until you can't even see it anymore. See it disappear in the horizon. And as you let it go, notice how you feel a little lighter now after you've let that go. After you let all those limiting beliefs from other people, from society, no longer weigh down. Freeing yourself from those shackles. And then slowly start to lift the head up. Walk the hands back. And then with the help of your hands, lift the knees up. And then we're going to come into our deer pose. So you're going to place your right shin in front of you and your left leg out to the side. So two options for your deer pose. One option is to have your right knee here in front of your right hip with the right shin parallel to the front of your mat, flexing the right foot. The left knee in line with the left hip, creating this straight line with the left shin parallel to the longer edge of your mat, and once again flexing that left foot as well. Another option, if this is a little intense for you, bring your left heel close to your left hip and your right foot close to your left thigh. So whatever variation you'd like, take that. And then you're going to inhale, Sit up tall, draw the belly in, and then exhale, gently twist to the right. Left hand onto the right knee, right hand onto the ground behind you, close to the right hip. Sit up tall, lengthen the spine, and twist, gazing past the right shoulder. Notice how the body feels in this shape. Notice how the left hip feels compared to the right, as we're doing two different things. Your left hip in an internal rotation, and the right hip externally rotating. And if your left hip is a little lifted off the ground, know that it's okay. Feel the stress along the side body as you twist. And then slowly come back to center. Face forward, the direction of the right leg. And slowly start to walk the hands forward, coming down into a gentle fold. You can stay up onto your forearms, or if possible, then come all the way down. You can also opt to place your forehead on a block if that feels good. And feel how the body, upper body surrenders down to the ground. Slowly lift the head up. Walk the hands back under the shoulders. We're going to transition into our pigeon from here. So you're just going to lift the hips up slightly, tuck the left toes under to slide the left leg all the way back. Point your left toes, look back, make sure your left leg is relatively straight back. And make sure the right knee is outside the torso here, so it's not going to jam directly on top, underneath the chest when you come down. You can also place a block under the right hip here. You can wedge it there, especially if your right hip is really high off the floor, or if you notice that your right hip is rolling down, so the left hip is higher than the right. So we want to keep the hips relatively square. Then walk the hands forward, first coming down to your elbows and getting yourself a little comfortable here in your pigeon. You can even wiggle it out a couple of times. And you can stay here or come all the way down, forehead to the mat. So I'm going to stay up on my forearms, just so my voice is not too muffled. But feel free to take whatever variation you want. And as we stay here, start to think of all these limiting beliefs that we may hold about ourselves because of what people close to us may tell us. Our family, our friends, their expectations of us. Especially for certain families, Asian families for example, there's a lot of pressure about the kind of job you should be in, the career you should follow, where to go to school, what you should be doing with your spare time even. And while we may appreciate that that is their way of showing their love and care for us, sometimes that can also hold us back from finding our true potential, because we end up just doing what we believe is expected of us. And we no longer explore what other options there are out there. So imagine for a second letting go of all these expectations and standards that are imposed on us or imposed on you by your family or loved ones. And hold that thought. We're going to transition out of our pigeon. So you're just going to tuck the left toes under, lift the left knee up, and then just slide the right leg all the way back. And rest your forehead on your hands, coming into a quick resting pose on your belly. And notice how this right side feels compared to the left side, since we've just done one side for now. Slowly lift the head up. We're going to come into deer pose on the second side. So you're going to push yourself up to tabletop position. And then slide the left knee forward, left foot towards the right wrist. And then bend the right knee out to the side. And find the same variation here. So left knee in line with the left hip, left shin parallel to the front of the mat, left foot flexed, right knee in line with the right hip, right shin parallel to the long side of your mat, and flex the right foot. Again, if that's too much for you, you can bring the feet closer to the thigh and hip. And then coming into our twist. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, right hand onto the left knee, left hand onto the ground, close to the left hip. Look past your left shoulder. Staying here in our deer twist for a short while. And going back to what we were talking about in pigeon pose. Going back to those limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves because of what our families and loved ones and close friends tell us. Their expectations of us, their image of us that maybe some of us try to uphold, or for some, try to disprove. Know that whatever other people may think of us or what other people may believe we should be, that doesn't necessarily have to be our reality. We have to find our own reality, whatever it is. So think of all those different things now. And slowly come back to center. We're going to come down to that fold again over the front leg. So slowly start to walk the hands forward, coming down into that fold over the left leg. Maybe the forehead rests gently onto the mat, maybe not. And as we stay here with our pile of limiting beliefs coming from our family and friends and other loved ones, let's start to put them all into another box. Place them all there, one by one, until all of them are inside that box. And then once more, tape it shut. feel that box tight. And then once again, gather up all your strength and throw that box as far away from you as you can. Until it's nothing, not even a speck in your view. And as you release it away from you, release it and throw it away, feel even more lightness start to creep into the body as you once again let go of something that has been weighing you down. Slowly start to lift yourself up, hands under the shoulders. Now lift the hips up slightly. Bring the left knee more towards the side so that your knee will be outside the torso for sure. Tuck the right toes under and stretch the right leg back, pointing the toes. And you can use the block once more underneath the left hip if that feels good for you. Especially if your hip is high off the ground or if your hip is rolling down. Keeping the hips square, hands start to walk forward, come down to your forearms. Maybe wiggle things out a little bit again. And then slowly you can come all the way down if that's something you did on the first side. Forehead to the mat. Again, I'm staying up on my forearms just so I can be heard a bit more clearly here. Keep the hips square, shoulders relaxed. Make sure your body is nice and soft and relaxed. So you're not clenching your jaw, you're not tensing in the shoulders or in the hips. And start to once again get to know more limiting beliefs that you may hold about yourself. And this time, these are beliefs that you hold about yourself. These are beliefs that come from you. The high standards, maybe even impossible standards that you hold yourself up to. The flaws that you imagine you have, whether physically or mentally or emotionally, most especially in the physical realm. That's where we tend to be pretty critical usually, especially because of standards that are brought about from society. How maybe we think our nose is too big, we're too fat, we're too thin, our skin is too dark, too fair, we have that little blemish, we have under the eye, we have too many freckles. Or it can be fear holding us back. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure. So whatever all these things are that are holding us back from doing certain things, from reaching our full potential, from trying something new. What are all these? Hold on to this thought as we slowly transition out of our pigeon first. So come up onto your hands. Tuck the right toes under so that you can lift the right knee up. Slide the left leg back. Lower yourself back down to your belly and rest your forehead onto your hands. Taking a few breaths here. And as we stay here, I'm going to start thinking once more about all these limiting beliefs we hold about ourselves. But first, coming into Crocodile, just to relax the body a little bit as we continue with this release work. Point your toes outward, feet on opposite corners of your mat, resting on your belly, forehead on your hands. And so as we continue thinking about all these limiting beliefs about ourselves that come from us, ourselves, and definitely most of the time we are our own harshest critic, start to pile them all up again and place them in a box. And then tape that box shut, seal it completely, and then once more gather up all your strength so that you can throw that box away as far away into the void as possible. See it disappear. It's no longer in existence, no longer in view. And after releasing all of that, letting it go, feel your body once more become even lighter after letting go of another thing that has been weighing you down. And then slowly coming into Sphinx pose, bending the elbows, stacking the elbows underneath the shoulders, and your forearms pressing down to the floor. Point the toes back, legs together. Press the tops of the feet and your legs onto the floor. Press the shoulders back, so you're kind of squeezing the shoulder blades together here a bit. So you're starting to feel the chest reach forward between the shoulders, between the arms. Feel the collarbones broaden. Make sure your shoulders aren't hiking up towards your ears like this. Glide the shoulders down away from the ears and press the shoulders back. And as we stay here in our Sphinx pose, now that we've released quite a fair bit that has been weighing us down, that has been limiting us, now we start to think of all these infinite possibilities that are open to us. Imagining ourselves being born anew, like a baby, with a bright future ahead of us, with infinite possibilities available to us. See how the future expands out before you into infinity. Possibilities are endless, and you are only limited by your own imagination. You can stay here in Sphinx, or lift yourself up into seals, straightening the arms, getting a bit more compression in the lower back here. If that's not comfortable for you, then come back down to your Sphinx rather. Make sure the shoulders are away from the ears again, so if the shoulders are hiking up, glide it down. Feel the chest reach forward. And as you stay in, whether it's your seal or your Sphinx, remind yourself, I am full of life, and I am filled with possibility. And repeat this to yourself several times. Feel that statement in your body, in your mind, in your soul, in your heart. I am full of life, and I am filled with possibility. I am full of life, and I am filled with possibility. I am full of life, and I am filled with possibility. I am full of life, and I am filled with possibility. If you're in seal, slowly come down to your elbows, finding Sphinx. And everyone now, take one breath. And slowly lower yourself down onto your belly, forehead onto your hands. And notice how you feel after you've repeated that same statement several times. Feel this great ball of energy inside you. And feel excited about this new life stretching ahead of you. All these possibilities waiting for you to take them for yourself. Go ahead and take them. Go ahead and pursue whatever you want. And now slowly roll over to lie on your back. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. Just a quick twist here. Holding onto the right knee with the left hand, right arm down to the ground. And guide the right knee over towards the left. And you can use a block underneath the right knee if that feels good for you to support it. So the right hip stacks on top of the left knee. The right shoulder stays pressing down towards the floor. And see if you can gaze towards your right fingers. Taking 3 long deep breaths here in your twist. Slowly come back to center. Knee to chest one last time. And release, other side, left knee in towards the chest. Release your left arm down to the floor. Right hand guides the left knee over towards the right side. And once again here, you can place a block underneath the left knee if you'd like. If the knee doesn't come all the way down to the floor and you want that support. Left hip stacks on top of the right hip. Left shoulder presses down towards the ground. And gaze towards your left fingers, if possible with the neck. Slowly come back to center. Knee to chest one last time. And release. And slowly make your way into your Shavasana. Extend the legs, feet finding opposite corners of the mat, arms down by the sides. Relax the body. Notice how you feel after everything you just did. How you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. And allow yourself to stay here as long as you'd like. Take as long as you'd like in your Shavasana. Whenever you're ready, just slowly come into any comfortable seat and end the practice with a quick gratitude, acknowledgement to yourself, and perhaps repeating the same affirmation that we had earlier during Sphinx pose a few times, just to really get to feel it more with yourself. Thank you for joining in. See you